Oh boy, we've made it. Welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Today is January 26th, 2024. I'm your host, Robbie Basel, on this not cold day in January. That's like the first time I've said that in like a week and a half, it feels like. Today we have so many topics to talk about across a variety of sports, just like it says in the description of the YouTube channel, if you've ever checked that out before. But today, before I go into any of the topics, before I go into my announcements, it is time to do the commentary of the people's choosing. And the winning, so we did a poll on Wednesday night, and you guys voted for, the winning votes went for the New York Jets topic on why their season was terrible. So shout out to Dylan Shalom, who we've seen on the channel before, and shout out to all the people who voted for the Jets topic. 48% of the vote went to the New York Jets. Shockingly, 32% of the vote wanted me to roast New York pizza places, which I was terrified about because that led for like half the vote. And then the Jets one just came out of nowhere and won. So I was terrified for about 10 minutes, for like half of my day on Wednesday and the Thursday, thinking pizza was going to win, and I had no idea what to write about. And then the Jets topic won, and I knew exactly what to write about. So enjoy what you're about to watch. Unfortunately, I don't have like a teleprompter. I'm not doing this in like, of course, the studio. I'm doing it in literally my dorm room. So if I'm gonna be looking down like this way a lot, I mean, I can't look up because it's like too far away. I tried taping it to my small TV behind, which is actually behind the laptop, but you couldn't read the full thing and it kept folding over. So if you see me looking down this way, here and there, apologies. I mean, I'll put it right here. Are you guys ready? Because I don't know if we'll see if this is going to be a clip on YouTube. We'll see. All right. 1 minute commentary. The New York Jets. After the New York Jets attempted to take flight in the 2023 season, it all came crashing down in a flash, and it will cost them for years to come. I'm Robbie Basel. The New York Jets enter 2023 as one of the most intriguing teams in the league, led by stars such as Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, and offseason moves like trading for star quarterback Aaron Rodgers. But all hopes for this team vanished in 4 plays when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. Fans knew what happens next. We've all seen this script before. Lots of hype and lots of disappointment and another lost season. And after this performance, or lack thereof, from this team in 2023, the Jets finished the season with double-digit losses. Again. This falls on everyone, and one thing is now for certain. 2024 is do or die. And if failure rises once again, coaches may be fired, stars could be traded, and some players on this team could want out faster than Zach Wilson on following the Jets on Instagram. Can this team soar to new heights in 2024? I guess we will all have to wait at the gate to find out. For now, I'm Robbie Basel. Rate the commentary 1 to 10. I know it's not like the greatest thing ever, but, you know, I actually took a long time to work on this script, so it was better than my first take because I actually had to do multiple takes of that because I kept botching one part, and I couldn't find it. Oh, whatever. Welcome back to the Robbie Basel Show. It is time now for your usual spiel of topics, and we're going to begin in the footballing world with some news that came out this morning from Liverpool Football Club. We're not going into leagues yet. We have the FA Cup to talk about, which is like possibly the weirdest cup tournament in the world. But we get to talk about that next after the fact that Jurgen Klopp is going to leave Liverpool Football Club. The scenes are crazy. Instagram is in shambles, as the news came out today in an interview that Jurgen Klopp will leave Liverpool at the end of the season. My thoughts on this: shocking. We all saw when he left Borussia Dortmund what that looked like. The fans' reaction, the whole Dortmund fan bases I felt like the whole nation just came together to support Jurgen Klopp before he went to Liverpool. And now he will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, and from the looks of it, won't be managing in 2024-25. It's shocking to me that he's doing this now. I thought he would have done it last year, but at the same time, The reason I say he should have done it last year because I thought he was going to coach Germany at the home Euros. Would have made sense. Perfect gift, a way to ride off into the sun, just win the Euros for your home country. That would have been very fitting. Hey, it would have been fitting if he coached the U.S. men's national team, but we're not going to get that. But at the end of the day, Klopp was saying he was. Let's read what some of the things that Klopp said, because there's a lot of this stuff. Let me pull my phone because this is where I wrote the notes for this. Because some of the things he said are actually very interesting. I mean, let's just dive into this. So, the situation at hand. Jurgen Klopp is, of course, out as manager. But what he says here, things like he's running out of energy, and it's becoming... I actually have a better article to pull up for this. I'm sorry that this is like such a hodgepodge topic. I had everything set up and now nothing's loading. But one thing we know for certain is that he will not manage another club in England other than Liverpool. Makes sense. I know Manchester United fans wanted him as manager. But I knew already for longer that I will announce it at some point, and I'm absolutely fine now. But he said earlier that it is that I am, how can I say it, running out of energy. He's no problem, but he knows that he cannot do the job again and again and again and again. So what makes sense for me now, understanding all this, is the fact that Germany only plays like 6 games a year. Coaching Germany, I think, would be the next move for Jurgen Klopp. I think that would make the most sense. It will be the same stressful environment. A lot of expectation, high quality of players. It just will be like a fifth of the matches, a sixth of the matches that you'd play per year. And I think that wouldn't be bad for Jurgen Klopp as a manager. Coaching Germany, I would love him to see win the World Cup in 2026 with that old Germany team, whoever's going to be on it. So the narratives are there for Jurgen Klopp. But for Liverpool, who do they hire next? I know a lot of fans are going to say they want Xabi Alonso. I don't see that move happening. Because Xabi Alonso is like done one good season at Leverkusen, and they think, oh yeah, let's just go get the guy from Bayern Leverkusen. I don't think that's the smartest move ever, but I also don't hate it, because Xabi Alonso, I think, is a very competent manager, and I think he would be a good fit. But I don't think that's the move yet. If you told me in 2 years, or in a couple more seasons, if Leverkusen keeps doing well, yeah, let's go sign Xabi Alonso. We have the transfer budget. We have the wage budget. Like, that would make more sense, but Liverpool fans are in shambles. They were failed to get guys like Moises Caicedo and Lavia in the transfer windows. They were apparently linked with Mbappe, but now he's not linked to Liverpool at all. And now you have Klopp leaving. And that this team is like first or second. This is crazy. The Prem is crazy. And leading into the Prem now, after the Klopp situation, we have the FA Cup, which is weird that he's saying this stuff a day before his cup match, or a day or two before his cup match. Liverpool does play in the Cup. They are going on to face... I actually have no idea. Liverpool plays Norwich on Sunday. But that whole narrative is going to be waiting for Sunday. What matches am I looking forward to this week? So in the 4th round of the Cup, which is what we're currently in, we already had Bournemouth. They beat Swansea 5-0, which fair play. We had goals from and they scored, to make it even more fun, all 5 goals before the end of the first half. Bournemouth ran Swansea off the field with only 5 shots on goal and 5 goals total. So they understood the assignment, and good for Bournemouth. I want them to go far. They're a decent team, decent lower mid-table Premier League side, and seeing them advance to the next round is always good to see. So what matches am I looking forward to in this round of the FA Cup? We'll start with today's games. There's 2 of them off the bat. Chelsea against Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea coming off of their emphatic 6-1 win against Middlesbrough midweek to advance in the Carabao Cup to the final against Liverpool. Another final Liverpool's in, by the way. This game will be interesting. And let's take a look at some of the narratives. Chelsea unbeaten in their last 9 home games. Aston Villa have won the last 3 against Chelsea, though, so that's could go either way. But top scorers, I mean, the whole situation. And for Aston Villa, if you look at their last couple of games, have recently, they've lost to Manchester United on Boxing Day. They beat Burnley. They barely beat Middlesbrough on Saturday the 6th in the FA Cup, and they drew Everton on Sunday. So I don't know how much confidence I should have in Aston Villa, especially when they play Newcastle, so they might rotate for this game and then focus on Newcastle. So I'm going to say Chelsea win this match. I think Chelsea are going to go full send because what else are they going to do? And I think they're going to go all to play for. I think Chelsea is either going to be a draw and set up a replay, because I don't think either of these teams want a replay in the situations that they're in. Chelsea playing a cup final, Aston Villa, who I believe are still in, although they're not in a continental competition. So that's actually not the worst thing in the world, but I still don't think Aston Villa want to play a replay, especially against Chelsea. So this game will have a winner. I'm going to go with Chelsea at home. I'm going to say 2-1. I think Aston Villa is going to rotate too much. I think Chelsea come out with a win. And the other game, we have Tottenham against Manchester City. This one's even more intriguing. City haven't lost in their last 9, but Tottenham's unbeaten in their last 4 home matches. I think City rotate here, and I think this game is going to be a 1-1 draw. Set up a replay at the Etihad when eventually Man City should be through. I think Tottenham are going to cause problems. They just don't have the scoring that they need to go out and win a match like this. And what do I mean by that? Heung-min Son, not there. Let's look at the players who are out for these teams in this game. James Maddison's apparently on the injury list. I actually did not know that. And, of course, Heung-min Son, their best player, is not there. This team is going to not play as well. I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. Haaland is doubtful for the match against Tottenham, along with possibly Ederson. So they might be playing their backup goalkeeper. So I don't know how good that's going to look. But this game is going to be not as good as advertised. And I think this is going to lead to a 1-1 draw. Tomorrow, what games we like in the FA Cup tomorrow? There's not a lot of ones that I do like, but a game that I think is going to be underrated. I just got to make sure this team is not awful. Because if you remember, Plymouth are pretty decent. Plymouth, who sit in lower mid-table in the championship, they're playing in an all-championship matchup against Leeds, who sit in 4th in the championship, 2 points off of automatic promotion to the Premier League for next season. I think Leeds are going to be a good side. I think they're going to beat Plymouth, but that's going to be a very interesting tie. The narratives are there in Ipswich as they host Maidstone. Maidstone, for those who don't know, are in the Vanarama National League South. North or South? They're in the Vanarama National League South. And for those who don't know what the National League South is like, the best club in the Vanarama National League South is Yeovil Town this season. And I don't think anyone knows who that is. So, they're not very good. And Maidstone sitting 4th in that league behind sides like Chelmsford, Worthing, and Yeovil. I think Maidstone United are going to lose this game, but it's going to be a fun contest back and forth. I think 3-1 for Ipswich. Everton-Luton, I think, could be interesting. I have Luton winning this game. I think Everton are going to rotate. I think, this one could go back and forth, but I just have no idea how it could go. This has 0-0 written all over it, but I'm going to say 1-0 to Luton. That's the only other interesting games. I mean, Leicester against Birmingham maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. And then on Sunday's cup matches, of course, we have Liverpool and Norwich. I have Liverpool winning that game convincingly, despite Mo Salah not being there. Watford, Southampton, 2 teams that you could argue will be in the promotion race for the Premier League next season. If you look at the standings, Southampton is in 3rd, and we have their opponents in Watford, who are in 9th, but they're only 3 points off of the last spot in the playoffs. This game is going to go back and forth as well. I like Watford at home, but Southampton are not going to make this easy for anyone. If really, it should be a Southampton win, but it's the FA Cup. You never know what's going to happen. West Brom Wolves, that game's really early. It's at 6:45 a.m. local time at the Hawthorns. Wolves haven't lost in 6, but West Brom haven't lost at home in their last 5. I think this is going to be a draw and lead to a replay. And then we have Newport County hosting Manchester United at Rodney Parade in Newport. I'm very intrigued. Newport haven't lost in 7. The amount of places that divided to is extraordinary. I want Newport to win. I don't think they get it done. I think Manchester United win this game 2-0 and set their eyes on the next round of the Cup. To continue with the footballing world, we have finally got to the AFCON knockouts. We will begin with the Africa Cup of Nations because why the hell not? So on Tuesday, we heard what happened. We heard about Angola. If you didn't pay attention at the end of the video, we missed what happened at the end. Angola beat Burkina Faso, which made no sense because Burkina Faso is much better than Angola. And then we had Mauritania just beat Algeria. At the end of the tournament, we're going to go over our predictions and see how bad we did. Because we don't have time in this video to actually do that. But it was a back and forth in Mauritania. Let's look at the statistics here. A Delahi goal. Algeria had 75% possession and lost. That's all you need to know. Wednesday, we had three of the most boring games you could have possibly asked for. We'll start it off with Namibia drawing Mali. Namibia advanced to the AFCON knockouts despite having a -3 goal difference and scoring 1 goal. Does that make any sense? Not really. But 1 goal in one of their matches set their eyes into the next round after beating Tunisia 1-0, losing to South Africa 4-0, and drawing Mali 0-0. They advance to the AFCON knockouts next round, and they will be joined by South Africa, who drew Tunisia. Tunisia, who I had as one of the sleepers to win this whole thing, is knocked out in the group stage in dead last. Remarkable work by South Africa here. You look at the stats. South Africa didn't get outclassed off the field. Same amount of shots, barely more XG to Tunisia. Tunisia, a team that beat France in the World Cup, are out. Shocking scenes there. And then we had our later session of games. We had Tanzania draw the DR Congo 0-0, which we've seen before. If you paid attention to the last World Cup qualifying, Tanzania drew the DR Congo on the first match day. Tanzania had .11 XG in the whole match, and they drew. They finished in, spoiler alert, they finished in last. The DR Congo, despite drawing all 3 matches, made it to the next round. They finished in second because Zambia could not beat Morocco. Morocco advanced to the next round because it's Morocco. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. Morocco advanced to the next round despite having 2.61 XG and only 1 goal. 19 shots to 11. They're just a better team than Zambia, which sets us up, I believe, for our AFCON knockouts. Yes, we are. Let us advance to the AFCON knockouts. This is very, very, very exciting. And I can't wait to see how this goes. Let us look at the knockout trees. This is according to FootMob, which make sure, I love FootMob. This is just a really fun app to use. We'll start us off with what's in my top left, because it's the way this is. We have Nigeria playing Cameroon. Terrible break for both of these two. I think this one could go either way. Whoever wins this match is going to make it to the semifinals. If you look at the way both of these teams have played, Cameroon, they had an interesting group stage. They drew Guinea. They lost to Senegal, and they weren't even close. And they barely scraped out the win against the Gambia, which I'm still sad about because I wanted the Gambia to win. And then you have Nigeria, very similar. They went out, they drew, well, kind of similar and not at the same time. They drew Equatorial Guinea, which is now looking like not a bad result at all. Then they beat Ivory Coast, and then they beat Guinea-Bissau. I like Nigeria. They're in better form. Cameroon are going to come out firing, though, and I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I have Nigeria winning 3-2. They're going to play, I think, Angola. Angola, one of the shockers of this tournament, they went out and won their group. They went out, won 2 of their 3 games. They drew Algeria. They beat Mauritania, and they beat Burkina Faso. So I think Angola is going to be a threat to really any of these teams. Angola overall haven't lost in their last 8, And Namibia apparently haven't scored in their last two, which I don't think is right. They haven't. They can't score. I think this is a low-scoring affair. I have Angola winning 1-0. Angola is going to advance to play Nigeria, which Nigeria is going to advance to the semifinals by beating Angola. So I have Nigeria in one semifinal, and they'll be playing the winner of this part of the tree, which is Cape Verde, Mauritania, Morocco, and South Africa. I have Cape Verde running all over Mauritania. I love this Cape Verde team. Cape Verde is shocking, and I love it. If you look at how they've played, they don't have like a true goal scorer. And they don't have a player who's had a really good assister either. But one player, I mean, they have a lot of players with very good match ratings. Player like a Logan Costa, who plays at Toulouse, he's averaging a 7.75. Ryan Mendes, I think that's how you say it. He plays for Fight Karagümrük in Turkey. Like, these players you've never heard of before. Bebe on Real Vallecano, I think you've heard of them before. But their goal scoring has been from a hodgepodge of players. Brian Teixeira, a player I've never heard of before. He plays for Sturm Graz in the Admiral Bundesliga. Gary Rodriguez, who also plays in the Turkish Super League. Only 1 goal and 3 assists in the Super League, but they're getting the job done. The team that's ranked 73rd in the world will beat Mauritania, advance to the next round. I'm just checking something. I'm forgetting the team that had like that right back score like 1 million goals. Because like one team has like a right back playing striker. I don't know who it is. Is it Namibia? I don't think it is either of these. No, it's not either of these teams. The dude's scoring like 1 million goals. I'm just trying to remember. I think it might be Equatorial Guinea. We'll find out. But I have Cape Verde winning 3-0. They're going to play Morocco. I love this South African team. You remember the days. This is how I knew about this team to begin with. They have like Screamer Shabalala. They have Timba Swane, a player I know. Tapelo Maseko, another player I know who that is. Aubrey Mavosa Modiba, another player I know. Tebo Makwena. Evidence, the names on this team are miraculous, and I love it. Let's find another good one. They have a Belgian manager, which makes this whole story amazing. They've played some. If you don't know the South African leagues, can't blame you. Shibungensi Matwewa, Tapela Maseko, I mentioned already. Temba Swane. I mean, there's a lot of evidence. We talked about him. Malali Mayambella, I don't know. Another good player. South Africa is going to lose, but it's good. They're going to throw up a good fight. I think this game goes to extra time. Morocco wins. Morocco is going to go out and play Cape Verde. I think this is a great game. Morocco, a very interesting side. You know about Ashraf Hakimi. If you look at the rest of this team, he's their Mazraoui, another good player. Yaha Atit Allah, another player who I know is pretty solid. Amrabat, who is on United. They haven't had a real goal scorer, and I think that's going to cause problems. Hakimi's, you already know what he's going to be able to do. I think South Africa actually would be the better team here. Let me just make sure of this. Didn't South Africa, play a good... I mean, they've lost to Mali and drew Tunisia. I'm going to say Morocco's going to play Nigeria, and I have Morocco going to the final. So Morocco is one of my finalists. Then we have Mali against Burkina Faso and Senegal against Ivory Coast. Senegal's beating Ivory Coast 4-1. I'm saying it now. Ivory Coast is going to take the lead and then concede 4. Senegal is going through. They're going to play Burkina Faso, I think. Listen, Mali's a great team. They're a very good squad. But, they've only scored 3 goals. I think Burkina Faso's actually scored a lot more than that. I might be wrong. Oh, they've also scored 3 goals. Oh, that's concerning. Bertrand Traore, I mean, they've only scored goals from penalties. I'm going to say Burkina Faso beat Mali 1-0. They're going to play Senegal, and then Senegal is going to beat Burkina Faso. So Senegal is one of my other finalists. Then we have Egypt against the DR Congo. Egypt's winning 1-0. That game's going to be a snooze fest. And they're going to play Equatorial Guinea. They are unkillable, and I'm picking them to go far. The narratives continue with Equatorial Guinea. This team is unkillable with players you've never heard of before. This team is one of the leaders in the competition in goals scored, and they are led by Emilio Insue, who isn't this the dude? This is the dude that plays right back, right? Yeah, the third. Yep, this is the dude. So he's playing striker. He's played for some of the weirdest teams in the world. If you look at his career and who he's played for Intercity, which I don't know where that is. If you played for Birmingham, Middlesbrough, Malaroca twice. No, 3 stints in Malaroca and Real Sociedad. So, like, this dude's played at some of the biggest clubs in the world, but now he's playing for CF Intercity, who are actually in Spain. I didn't realize that. They are in Serie B, another club I've never heard of before. No, they're in Serie C. Yeah. No, that's Italy. Jesus. They are in the Primera Federazione, which is like the regional Liga, which I think is the 3rd division. I almost said that was Serie C, but that's Italy. That was Italy. No. I'm going to say Equatorial Guinea advance. They're going to beat Guinea. And then Equatorial Guinea is going to beat Egypt and go to the final and lose to Senegal. So my final is Senegal against Morocco. And I have Senegal beating Morocco in the final. 3rd place team. I mean, it's Nigeria against Equatorial Guinea. I think Nigeria would beat Equatorial Guinea, but they're not going to mess around. So just to recap really quick, my champions are going to be Senegal. They're going to beat Morocco in the final, with my 3rd place team being Nigeria, my 4th place team being Equatorial Guinea. They're unkillable in the group stage, and they have a great tree to play out of. Egypt without Salah, I think, are going to be a mess. I am backing the small country, the 2nd smallest country in the tournament left, in Equatorial Guinea. Now to the Asian Cup, because we took way too long on AFCON this week. Shocking. I am not shocked by that at all, actually. I told you this was going to be a long video. Asian Cup. The fixtures we just had from Wednesday. We had Iraq struggle a little bit and barely beat Vietnam 3-2. Japan beat Indonesia 3-1. Setting up this group, which was group letter, I can't find them. Group D, Iraq won the group on 9 points. Then Japan, Indonesia squeak into the knockouts, which is like the weirdest. I think, yeah, they made the knockouts after one of my teams, who I said was a sleeper, my sleeper team, heavily disappointed. We continue for Thursday. And how did this go? Well, not how anyone expected. We start off with South Korea playing the game of the tournament, a 3-3 draw with Malaysia. Malaysia, who leveled it at 1 after Jong scored the opener. Halim equalized. And then Ayman scored a penalty to take the lead for Malaysia. Then Lee scored to rip their hearts out. And then Heung-min Son scores a penalty to do it even more. But Morales, in the 105th minute, scores a goal to equalize it for Malaysia. They get a point. They've scored all 3 goals against South Korea. They did not make it to the knockouts. Very unfortunate. South Korea got lucky. They made the knockouts, finishing 2nd after Bahrain, who I told you to look out for as well. They beat Jordan 1-0. Bahrain wins the group after winning 2 of their. I think they've won 2 of 3, right? Bahrain wins the group, winning 2 of 3. South Korea going unbeaten, yet finishing in 2nd, followed by Jordan, who also advances to the Asian Cup knockouts. Group F, we had Saudi Arabia play a very interesting tie. They went out on Thursday and drew Thailand. Thailand, a team that I didn't really think about, advances, finishing 2nd in the group after Oman drew is it the Republic of Kyrgyzstan? Is that how you say it? I don't know. They drew Kyrgyzstan 1-1. Fair play. Kyrgyzstan, after going down a goal, leveled it in the 80th minute. Drew Oman, knocking Oman, my sleeper team, out of the tournament, setting up this tree for the knockouts. We'll start with the top bracket on my screen. We have the UAE. They're taking on Tajikistan. I want to pick Tajikistan. I'm picking the team that has more has proven more to me, and that's the team that made it to the Asian playoff in the last World Cup qualifying cycle. I'm going with the United Arab Emirates winning 1-0 over Tajikistan, knocking them out, which fair play to Tajikistan. Didn't think they're going to get far at all, and they made it this far. They're going to play the winner of Iraq and Jordan, and I'm going with the Iraqis. They're going to be the sleeper in the knockouts because they have a very easy tree. That if they make it to the semifinals, they're going to have a true test. Just to mention the teams that are in the next tree: Australia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea. They're going to have to go to war. I mean, that's not the right way to put it. They're going to have to go to battle with one of those other teams. And I can't wait to see what the Iraqis do, because the Iraqis I have going to the semifinals. They're an interesting bunch. Let's talk about this Iraq national team real quick. The statistics. They score a lot of goals from open play, and they're led by, I'm going to not say it right. I'm going to try to say it as best I can. Ayman Hussein from Al Jazeera, which is in the United Arab Emirates. That's amazing. I love this narrative so much. He is their leading goal scorer with 5 goals. He is playing out of his mind. He is going to lead the Iraqis to a semifinal appearance. So Iraq, I have beating Jordan 2-1, and then I have them beating the UAE 2-0. So Iraq, I have in this one semifinal. Now let's talk about the next bracket. I have Australia all over Indonesia. I have them winning 4-0. This is the snooze fest of the knockouts. I think Indonesia can make a run, but I still think Australia has too much quality on their team. They're going to go out and win 4-0. And then the most intriguing matchup of the Asian Cup round of 16, I would believe so. Yeah, it 1,000% is. We have South Korea against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, an interesting team. They don't have a true goal scorer. South Korea is led by Heung-min Son. I'm going to go with South Korea. I'm picking the South Koreans to play Australia in a quarterfinal that will be the best quarterfinal game. This is the best part of the tree. It's 1,000% is. There's no way you can pick this tree accurately. So I am going to go with South Korea to beat Saudi Arabia. And I am going to go with South Korea to beat Australia. South Korea is going to advance to the semifinals and play Iraq. And South Korea is going to the final, as they're going to beat the Iraqis 2-0 in the semifinals. Iraq's going to go to the third place game. So just to quickly recap this part of the tree, I have the UAE beat Tajikistan, Iraq beating Jordan, then Iraq advancing over the United Arab Emirates to the semifinals. I have Australia over Indonesia and South Korea over Saudi Arabia. South Korea then beats Australia to lead it to South Korea taking on Iraq, and I'm going with South Korea over the Iraqis. To the bottom, next part of the tree, we have Iran against Syria, a battle of the Middle East, and we have Bahrain against Japan. Bahrain-Japan's an underrated game. I think Japan's going to go to extra time with Bahrain. I think Japan wins 1-0. Iran, I have beating Syria, a game that will go back and forth. I like both of these teams. They're both very solid. I mean, look at the stats. They have Mehdi Gaedi, who I know who that is. Mahdi Taremi, another player who I know who that is. They score a lot of goals from open play. They're going to be they were a favorite for, I bet, for a lot of people leading into this game. But Syria's defense is going to be able to hold their own. Despite them only scoring 1 goal in the entire group stage, they made it this far on 4 points. However, they had to go to battle in their group. They were in the group with Australia and Uzbekistan. And listen, the Syrians are a decent team. They beat India. They lost Australia 1-0. They've battled. They had a great game with Uzbekistan, which went to 0-0. I think Syria is going to struggle a little bit with the lack of goal scoring. I'm going to go with Iran 2, Syria 0. Iran advances to the quarterfinals. They're going to play Japan. Listen, I have the Japanese. They're the best team in the field. I feel so bad for Iran. They should not be playing Japan. But due to Japan losing to Iraq, listen, that's a hard battle to even begin with. Iraq and Iran, a derby that I think it's a derby, actually. I don't know. I'm actually not 100% sure. I have to look up my Asian footballing, Middle Eastern footballing knowledge, because I believe that might be a derby in the Middle East. I don't know. But Iran against Japan, I have Japan squeaking out a late win over the Iranian national team. So Japan's one of my semifinalists. Then we have Qatar against Palestine. The narratives for Palestine, for what some of their people are going through right now, would be amazing. but I have the Qatar national team. They're too good to not. They're way better than a lot of people thought they're going to be. I can totally say that. They're led by Akram Afif and Almoez Ali, two players who should have been better. Who we know who they how if you know the footballing world and going to the World Cup, we knew how good these players are. They just couldn't perform. Now at a lesser tournament, they are really being able to perform. High ratings from Afif. Ali leads the team in assists. They're both so good. They're going to go all over Palestine. I have 2-0 win for the Qatar national team. And then we're going to have Uzbekistan against Thailand. Listen, Thailand are one of my shockers for this whole tournament. Let's talk about them very briefly. They've only scored 2 goals, and it's by the same player, Supachai Jaided. I totally said that right. Let's go, chat. But they do have a player with a 9.16 match rating, which I've never seen a rating that high before. Look at the matches he's played in. He's only played in 1 match, but that explains it. But listen, they have played 3 games. They've only scored twice, but they haven't conceded a goal. So I think Thailand are going to be hard to break down. They're playing against an Uzbekistan team that have scored double the goals and have a variety of goal scoring, and they've only conceded 1. This game is going to extra time. I'm going to have Thailand beat Uzbekistan 1-0. I think that game's going to be a snooze fest till extra time. Thailand's going to go out and grab a winner. I think Thailand's going to advance to the quarterfinals against Qatar. And then I have Qatar beating Thailand and advancing to the semifinals against Japan. I have Japan going to the final, and Japan will be your Asian Cup champions despite finishing the group in second. The battle of the second-place teams in the final against South Korea, that game would be great. And the third-place game would be Qatar taking on Iraq. So my final standings will be Japan champions, South Korea runner-up, third-place team Iraq. That's my standings for the Asian Cup 2024 Asian Cup. So soccer is officially out the way. We can get rid of this. Quickly, some updates in F1. We're just going to talk over this real quick. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc each got contract extensions at their respective brands, which Lando I'm a little bit shocked by because I thought he'd be the next big driver at Mercedes. But Lando's existing contract was supposed to run out at the end of 2025, but they extended him longer for an unknown period of time, securing his future to work with Oscar Piastri and a team that I think can be real contenders this season. Charles Leclerc, same narrative. He extended beyond the 2024 season with Ferrari. But, man, the no Ferrari contract for Sainz, that's an interesting one. We know about the possible pre-agreement with Audi in 2026. That's a weird one that Sainz didn't get an extension yet from Ferrari. We might see that in the future, but right now I don't know. And we also have, oh God, the new F1 team names. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found out what the new team names are going to be. Well, we already talked about one of them. We talked about what Alfa Romeo is going to be. And then AlphaTauri, ladies and gentlemen, are now Visa Cash App RB. I feel like I'm in the perfect attire to announce this. I'm wearing like the jacket, you know. I'm in the perfect like announcers thing for this. What the hell are they thinking? Visa Cash App RB. This is from an article from racefans.net. Visa Cash App RB, the new name for the team previously known as AlphaTauri, will jar more than a little with the grander names on the grid like Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren. Why the heck are they sponsored by a credit card? That's what they picked? I mean, they probably got thrown a lot of money by Visa, but really? I'm so disappointed. To add the narrative, they are now have like this old rebranding of Toro Rosso. I'm calling them Toro Rosso probably all season. We know about Stake F1 with Alfa Romeo, which that name is also terrible. This is worse. Visa Cash App. There was a meme, and I want to tell you guys about this because it made so much sense. Where I gotta find it. on my phone. Because it was so good that it had to be talked about. Unless I didn't save it, which would be very disappointing. It was something about like Visa Cash App RB, which was AlphaTauri, loses to like MasterCard. And then also in the race is some other credit card companies. It's actually very funny. I can't find it. But I'm disappointed by the new team names. And I think they're all both going to get absolutely decimated this season. But we'll see. I had to possibly try and keep an open mind for this. I'm just very disappointed by the name choices. So that's out of the way. Now it's time to talk about the NFL playoffs. But wait, there's some more news before then. Because before the NFL playoffs, we have some head coaching hires to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start in alphabetical order. We have the Falcons, who hired Raheem Morris. I don't hate it, but what? They got interest from Bill Belichick and company, and they hired Raheem Morris? Okay. You'll have to deal with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. This is going to be great. The Falcons are going to be like, I just don't know. Their defense is going to improve, yeah, but offensively, no idea. Interesting one. Panthers, they hired Dave Canales from the Bucs. Flashy attempt at a head coaching hire. I don't hate this one, actually. I get what they're trying to do. Young head coach, offensive mind, possibly can work with Bryce Young. It's a weird idea, and I get what they're trying to do, though. So I don't hate this one. But yeah, the Panthers are terrible. They're going to be awful next season. We'll talk about the Chargers later because they're going to be last. We next have the Titans, and they hired Brian Callahan. I love this one. This is my favorite one. Brian Callahan, other than I liked Antonio Pierce too, but Brian Callahan, who was with the Bengals, is now the offensive coordinator at the Bengals, was hired as the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and I think he can really help out whoever the heck their starting quarterback is going to be next year. I think he can help Will Levis if he's going to be their starter next year. Heck, I think he can help Malik Willis if he's still there. But it's an interesting one. He's been the coordinator for the last 5 years. Callahan becomes the sixth head coach of the Titans franchise since he moved from Houston to Tennessee prior to the season of 1997. He, a former offensive assistant at the Denver Broncos. How old is he? Isn't he really young? Which is why they did this. Which is why I think they did this. Brian Callahan, 39. Perfect. I love that. Great hire by the Titans. I think this is going to be a good one. For context, this dude has worked with Joe Burrow. I think we know who he is. Derek Carr, another competent quarterback, and Matthew Stafford, who's won a Super Bowl. This will be fun. Vegas, they hired Antonio Pierce for real this time. This was inevitable. Antonio Pierce did a great job at the end of the season with the Vegas Raiders. He was able to, I felt like his team was able to establish more of the ground game. The passing game's really weird for them, but Pierce, a defensive guy, a former linebacker coach, his defense was really solid. And they're not making the same mistake like they did with not hiring Bisaccia. They went with Pierce. Good. Raiders players bought into Pierce's leadership style with all-pro wide receiver Davante Adams saying he would run through a wall for this man. That's what you need for Davante Adams at this point because you have no idea if he's going to be on the team next year. I'll be dead serious saying that. Max Crosby also voiced high support for Pierce. He went 5-4 as an interim coach, which is actually pretty good. That's a good hire. Gerard Mayo is the head coach of the Patriots. I get why they did it, but I don't know. It's a weird one. Mayo is 37. He'll be the youngest coach in the NFL, taking over the title that Sean McVay held. He's 1 month younger than Sean McVay. The linebacker from the Patriots from 2008 to 2015 was selected in the first round out of the University of Tennessee. Mayo joined Belichick's staff in 2019, serving as linebacking coach. So I get what they're trying to do. I don't know. This is the one I was very hesitant on with Gerard Mayo. It was like I feel like he could be really good. This is the head coaching hire other than Callahan and maybe the one with the Panthers. High floor, super low ceiling. This guy's gonna have Gerard Mayo's a lower floor than Callahan immediately, because Callahan worked with Joe Burrow. That's already good enough for me. But Gerard Mayo, the defense is pretty good, but it's gonna be a tough road for the Patriots. I'm interested to see how they go. This is a long-term project for them. Other news and coaching changes. We have Vic Fangio, who left the Dolphins to now become the defensive coordinator at the Eagles. Wink Martindale, we already knew about this. And there's a couple of the other ones that we all knew about already. But the coaching options still available with the openings. We have the Seahawks, who fired Pete Carroll, and the Commanders, who let go of Ron Rivera. Very interested that the Commanders have not hired a coach yet hired the best GM prospect. Very interesting. But we know about that. Now time to talk some NFL playoffs. We have 2 games this weekend. Let's break them down. We start off with the Ravens and the Chiefs. Everyone wants the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. And I am on that train. Not because I don't like Taylor Swift. The reason I don't like Taylor Swift now is because of how much, I'm not going to say I don't like Taylor Swift, but, I just don't like the publicity she gets by the NFL. It's one of those moments where they're focusing on the wrong part of the game. Heck, they're not focusing on the game at all. This is one of those situations. To save the entire country, other than Kansas City, Missouri, will be supporting the Baltimore Ravens. I am picking the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to run the ball all over Kansas City. They're able to handle Josh Allen. Good for you. The pass game for the Ravens will be near invisible, possibly. But you can't stop Lamar on the ground. No one can stop Lamar on the ground. And that's what's going to send him to the Super Bowl. It's going to be Lamar Jackson's time. It's going to be Harbaugh or Taylor Swift. I don't like Harbaugh, not that much, but I just don't like the narrative with Taylor Swift. Give me the Baltimore Ravens. 24-17, close game, back and forth, but I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. And then the one question with the Ravens is they're bad in the fourth quarter. Can they do better in the fourth quarter in games that are meaningful? That's one thing to watch out for. Lions and 49ers, I'm going with San Francisco. San Francisco is going to torch the Lions secondary. They are facing, I believe we're not going to see Deebo Samuel, this is the legacy game of Brandon Ayuk. This is the time. There will be 0 pass defense. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brandon Ayuk will have probably over 100 yards. This game will be a back-and-forth showdown. If you don't like defense, this is your game to watch. I have a 38-31 win for the 49ers. This game will be insane. And will probably keep me up late at night on Sunday, ahead of a 9:30 a.m. class on Monday. Perfect. The narratives are there. Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl, avenging his situation from last year. Perfect narrative. So my Super Bowl, of course, is going to be the San Francisco 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm avenging the Bills pick from last week by going with the Ravens this time. Ravens, Super Bowl, Baltimore Ravens, Niners, Super Bowl. That's my pick. I think a lot of people will be having that pick, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people want the Lions. I don't want the Lions in there yet because they're not good enough yet. But this is going to be their one chance for a long time, I feel like. I don't know. It's a weird narrative. It is now time for the Australian Open. And we will begin with some matches to break down. So the last time we talked about this, we knew about the elimination of our heroes of Hubert Hurkacz and Andrei Rublev, which was very sad. But one thing we didn't expect was the top 2 seeds to be eliminated in one night. And I'm 2 nights. And I'm all for it. We had Zverev from Germany who's getting hated on by Instagram for allegations that we don't know if are true or not. I don't know the whole situation, so I'm not going to comment on it. He went out and beat Alcaraz, which a lot of people wanted Alcaraz to win, I'll be honest with you. Alcaraz, the bright young star, really getting into his own. He went out and lost. And then Novak, just losing to Jannik Sinner, a guy who I almost picked for to win the tournament. Jannik Sinner goes to the final. That was the semifinal match. And then today we had Medvedev beat Zverev this morning, setting up our final of our two heroes of Jannik Sinner and Medvedev. Oh boy, this is going to be a great final. I can't wait. I will wake up at 3 a.m. or whenever the hell they're going to do this thing to watch this match, 1,000%. And Jannik Sinner against Medvedev. Sinner ends 10-time champions. So Novak has had 2 streaks broken. I think it was wins or days in a row of not losing at the Australian Open, days in a row not losing at Wimbledon. It continues, and well, Jannik is in the final against Medvedev. I'm going with Jannik Sinner. This is his time. Jannik Sinner has been in so many finals. It felt like so many finals. He's too good to not win this. Medvedev, another great player. The Russian is so talented with the forehand, big server. Both of these players are. I'm going with Jannik Sinner over Medvedev. I feel like that's going to be an unpopular take, but I'm going with Jannik Sinner. And then on the women's side, we had just chaos everywhere. On Tuesday, we learned about Sabalenka beating Krejcikova. I think that's how you say it. In straight sets, which led to Wednesday. We had a match I did not watch, Zhang over Kalinskaya. And then we had Zhang win again. And then we had a match I did watch, which was Sabalenka, and I watched the highlights of this, was Sabalenka and Goff. Straight set Sabalenka. I told you guys about how good this match is going to be. The first set went to a tie break. It was a great match. I wish it went to a third set, because that would have been the perfect story to tell. Sabalenka advances to the final against Zhang, which I think Sabalenka is going to win this in straight sets. Pretty straightforward. It's at tonight at 3:30 a.m. If you want to watch it. Fair play if you do. Waking up at 3:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Very bold idea. I wouldn't have to want to, especially entering a Saturday. Very bold. But I have Sabalenka beating Zhang in straight sets. This one's going to be an interesting one. Jannik, by the way, I forgot to say this earlier, I have him winning a 4-set thriller over Daniil Medvedev. So I've been able to talk about so many sports over the course of this video, and you saw the commentary. Like the video if you want me to talk about New York pizza on Tuesday, because this show is now on Tuesdays and Fridays. I will update the Instagram for all of that. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. Thank you guys so much for watching the episode. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy AFC and NFC Championship weekend. Goodbye, everyone.